Section 14 of Shadowland, September 1919. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. The Age of Propaganda by Hudson, Maxim. In recent years, there has been a rapidly growing recognition of the value of public opinion. As a man thinketh, so he is, and so he does. Likewise, as the multitude thinketh, so it is, and so it does. The Great War has demonstrated the fact that public opinion, more than anything else, shapes the destiny of nations. The opinion of the world cannot be ignored. The unscrupulous attitude and actions of Germany in precipitating and in conducting the World War lacerated the sense of justice and righteousness of all the other nations of the world, and allied against her the antagonistic opinion of even all the nations not actually allied against her in arms. The military despotism of Germany was not, however, blind to the value of public opinion. No man or group of men ever more appreciated the value of public opinion than the Kaiser and his ring of military bandits. For that reason, for 25 years prior to the outbreak of the war, the Wilhelmstrasse was the greatest school of public opinion in the world, or rather the greatest manufactory of domestic public opinion. Public opinion, like a garment, is very largely a manufactured article. The religion, the political opinion, and the patriotism of a people very largely depend upon leadership, and upon the instructions of their leaders, teachers, and guides. Therefore, when the Kaiser precipitated Armageddon, the German people were unitedly with him and stood solidly behind him, because for 25 years they had been taught that their own self-interest would be served, and they would be enriched and generally benefited by the success of German arms, which success seemed certain of realization. But the Kaiser and his coterie of bandits underrated the potentiality of the public opinion of the rest of the world. We must recognize, in this connection, the fact that the Kaiser had taken the precaution to backfire against antagonistic opinion in the principal prospective enemy countries, England, France, Italy, and America. He did this by fostering and promoting in a very effectual way a propaganda of pacifism. In the pulpit, and in every public forum, and in the public press throughout these countries, the doctrine was preached that war at all times is essentially wrong, that non-resistance is better than resistance, that the only true arm of defense is the inculcation of the lessons of brotherly love and a spirit of kindliness and non-resistance. The pacifists strongly urged that the United States should not prepare for national defense, but on the contrary, that this country should set the other nations of the world a great moral example by disarming. It seems strange now, in view of the lessons of the Great War, that such fallacious doctrines should have been believed. But they were believed, with the result that this country did not prepare properly for defense. And when the war came, it found us naked before our enemies. Had it not been for the colossal fleet of Great Britain, Germany would have won, and this country would have been conquered and plundered. We had a very close call, as it was. We got into the war just in time, not a moment too soon, to throw our weight into the balance and save our allies and ourselves from defeat. The more the great mass of the people become educated and enlightened, the more difficult it is to lead them without understanding, or at any rate to lead them without first showing them good and sufficient reasons for following. The time is past when the great mass of the people will blindly follow any leader without asking questions. Abraham Lincoln said that it may be possible to fool the whole of the people part of the time, or a part of the people the whole of the time, but that it is impossible to fool the whole of the people all of the time. The time is getting shorter and shorter when the whole people can be fooled, or when a part of the people can be fooled all of the time. The pregnant lesson that the people have learned through the war from the demolition of the doctrines of the pacifists, in which so many sincerely believed before the war, now serves to make the people more wary of placing their entire confidence in the oratorical emotionalism of any propaganda. Nevertheless, there is a very large class of persons in the United States being led by Bolshevist propagandists. By the term Bolshevism, I mean any and all isms, of whatever name, that have for their object the equalization of rewards for services rendered to employers and society, regardless of the kind and amount of service rendered. Any ism which has for an object the leveling of social and economic values. Any ism which has for an object the infraction of any rights which the fathers of this country declared inalienable: life, liberty, freedom of conscience, the ownership of property, and the pursuit of happiness. Any ism based on the belief that all men are created intellectually, physically, and morally equal, which intends to invert the laws of nature in an attempt to bring all men to equality, not by elevating the lower classes, but by lowering the upper classes to the level of the lower classes. Such has been the aim of Bolshevism in Russia. Such has been and is the aim of IWW-ism, anarchism, and other isms that are being taught both secretly and publicly throughout this country. The time has passed when the mere possession of property and position in this world can secure their retention and enjoyment. The struggle for existence now obtains savagely in every sphere of human existence. Those who have property or any valued possessions, if they wish to hold what they have, must now defend them. Hence the question becomes pertinent as to what is the best means of defense. The time has passed when the great proletarian class can be held in subordination by belief in and reverence for the divinity of kingship. The time has passed when a minority can govern the great majority by force. There is available but one way whereby the great proletarian class may be governed, and it is through education and through understanding that, in a society like that of the great American Commonwealth, the welfare of each individual is based directly upon the security under which he is able to profit by and enjoy the fruits of his earnings for services rendered. Hence, the security and welfare of each individual are pregnant concerns of every other individual in the Commonwealth, because methods or systems of government, laws or practices, made to enable one class to profit or benefit at the expense of another class, must, in the end, prove self-destructive and ruinous to all classes. There is but one way to salvation and security. It is by systematic, persistent, and broadly intelligent educational propaganda. Much may be done from the public forum, especially from the pulpit. Much may be done in the press. But above all, and very, very superior to all, is the power of the motion picture. It used to be said, with truth, that he who writes the songs of a people shapes the destiny of the people. The time has now arrived, however, when they who write the motion picture scenarios are they who are shaping the destiny of nations. What is said in public speeches must be translated or converted by the hearer from oral symbols into mental images, and what is read must be translated in the mind from visual to audible symbols, and from audible symbols into mental images. For we are able to realize the abstract only by rendering it into the concrete. The intangible must be made tangible. Again, the great majority of the people it is necessary to reach are more actually than figuratively children of a larger growth, and like children, much prefer that enjoyment be combined with instruction. The motion picture most happily combines enjoyment with instruction. Most readers of newspapers, magazines, and books are solitary readers. They read to themselves alone. The public speaker is able to appeal to but a very few of those necessary to reach. But the motion picture appeals to everybody. Its appeal is universal. Thus it will be seen that the value of the motion picture as an instrument of public educational propaganda transcends any and every other means, for the motion picture is superior to every other means, not only in special particulars, but also in every particular. What is seen with the eyes needs no translation or conversion. It consists of imagery, ready to be received by the mind, with which the mind has the habit of being impressed and of remembering as actual impressions of experience. The memory is very tenacious of what is actually seen with the eyes. There is no possible way that any appeal to the public, of whatever character, can be so effectively made as through the motion picture. The films, news services, and travelogues portray current events with great impressiveness. The marching of troops, the play of big guns, fighting ships in action, street parades, fruitful harvests, results of fire and flood, are all vividly portrayed on the screen, and every person in every part of the country is kept in touch and in sympathetic accord with all persons and events in every other part of the country. National pride and patriotism are fostered. Great and useful lessons are taught by power of example. Results of scientific research into every secret of nature, the lives and development of plants and animals, all are seen upon the screen. The history of past times is reenacted, with the dress and arms and armor representing every period. We are able to see with our own eyes how the pyramids were built, how the Roman galleys and the Roman legions maneuvered and fought, how ancient cities were stormed and taken, and how modern armies and modern fleets bring against each other all the demoniacal engineering of death and destruction evolved by the genius of this inventive age. In the portrayal of the manners and customs of polite society, good manners are taught. By seeing innocence betrayed, innocence is taught to guard itself. But in this respect, great care should be exercised, not in order to put innocence on its guard against betrayal, at the same time to give instruction to those who would betray. Although there is evident good done in placing the unwary on guard, by showing up the tricks and sharp practices of confidence men, swindlers, and gamblers, and the methods employed by burglars and hold-up men, still there is evident harm in giving instruction to criminally minded persons in the methods practiced by criminals. The time is here and now when concerted, intelligent, persistent steps must be taken to shape public opinion by useful instruction. For by such means, and by such means only, can internal trouble, even if not internal revolution, be prevented. It is a matter vital to the interest of every owner of property in the country, to every man with a home, and to every man and woman who believes in the sacredness and inviolability of the home. If the home is to be made secure, it must be defended, and property can have no value when there is no security. The time is here and now, when the better classes in this country must act and do the right thing for internal national defense, and that right thing can best be done through the instrumentality of the motion picture. End of section 14. Read by Bill Mosley, Llano County, Texas, USA, February 15th, 2024.